This week in comic books, we pay homage to the Green Arrow with one of the worst examples of socialism from somebody that doesn't understand socialism. Also, over in the land of Marvel, we get, anybody can be Captain America. Literally anybody can be Captain America, I guess. I don't know. Also, in the land of Independence, Chip Zdarsky needs more friends. I think he needs more friends. We're going to talk about those comic books and some more right after that intro. Hit it. Hey, what's going on, you wonderful weirdos and Pocan Joe? And as always, you right there watching me right now. Pretty cool for swinging by. I appreciate it and love you for it. But unfortunately, we're going to dive into this week's comic book. So without further ado, let's jump in. And please remember, all my reviews are subjective and completely one-sided. My side. So let's roll through it. First thing we're going to talk about is Teen Titans Academy. So this was interesting. We kind of get the loner girl in school that doesn't quite fit in. But this one, it's like Dr. Fate's made-up apprentice. It's Rag Girl, I guess is what we're going to call her. I really don't like calling her that because that can come off bad. We also get this little thing with a little Superboy type of thing. They keep calling him Superboy, and he's like, I'm not Superboy. And he finds out what a family's like because he's not from a family. It was kind of a heart-touching story. It was pretty cool. Whole bar on fire, the whole 9 yards. And then we do stuff like this to let us know that the Red X is still a pertinent character. I did like these kind of generic advertisements. It kind of reminds me of most of my yearbooks growing up where they had like some cheap little thing going on in there. And then we get a story about Red X trying to save like a foster parent farm, I guess is what you would call them. You know, these foster parents that just get a bunch of kids so they can collect that check and how this is a problem. And then also the little boy that's kind of featured in there may be who our character is. So that was kind of cool. I like that kind of lead into it. All in all, I've been missing out on a lot of the Teen Titan Academy stuff, so it was kind of cool to get caught up in that and kind of read it again because it's whimsical and it's fun, and it doesn't take its own self too seriously, and that's what I think really kind of enhances the fun in it. Green Arrow 80th anniversary came out. All the stories were really good in here except for one. And it was the Symphony of the Forest, or Trees, or something like that. I don't know. It was kind of ridiculous. So, obviously, somebody's trying to tell you what socialism really is. I always like it when they try to explain socialism, what it really should be. Because everybody kind of has this romantic version of it. You can't prove that anywhere in history. Anytime socialism's been injected into something, it has done nothing but kill, dismember, and destroy families and people throughout history. But, you know, they do this weird analogy where they talk about the fungi and the different plants and how the trees kind of all mix together. And this is because the writer doesn't really understand ecosystems in any way, much less socialism as a whole. Fungus are a virus on the trees. They are sucking the life out of it. Like if it gets overrun with mushrooms, it will die. Same thing socialism does. Look, have your own political beliefs out there. I totally agree with you when it comes to socialism and its made-up theoretical play in woo-woo land, right? It's a beautiful thing and it sounds really great. But unfortunately, due to human nature, that magical fantasy will never come true. So that one really kind of let me down that they really put that one on the nose like that. Like that was really... I thought that was, I just didn't think that was right, and I thought it was an even worse analogy. So I got a little bit of a problem with it. All right, moving on to Infinite Frontier. So we learned more about this, the Black Superman. I forget what Earth he's from, but we kind of get a day in his life of everything he has to do, and how sometimes people just need to figure out their own thing instead of relying on one person. That's a great story. That is a great thing. Sometimes as a group, you just got to figure it out and just work through it and not rely on this magical or superpowered thing to fix your life, right? To, knuckle down and do it yourself. And that was kind of the lesson in that. And I thought that was really great. And really smart written too. I really thought. And then we kind of get some, Dr. Bones stuff going, or Director Bones. Director Bones, way back in the day, started off as a villain, and he kind of has a. They kind of used his superpowers for whatever they could, but some of the more common themes with him is that his bones, if you will, or skin, is actually poisonous to the touch, and they referenced that in here. They referenced how he was a bad guy. So some of you out there that may not know him, it was kind of like, hey, kind of understand this guy. But also in it, we get this great story about him and how he has to kind of cross the lines and kind of work in a gray area of not good nor bad, but doing bad things for the right reason, for the overall good, if you will. And that was just smart writing, and I really enjoyed that. And he's also going through like case files of people too, so they're highlighting a bunch of people that we're going to be seeing in the Infinite Frontier, more especially Psycho Pirate. I've never really been a whole Psycho Pirate kind of guy because it's kind of the play off of emotions and woo-woo and how they're real things and all that. But I like what they did in here with the questions. What is real, right? Emotions was the answer, right? And yeah, emotions are real. The things that set off the emotions are not always real, but they're about the most rawest thing that you can have in you. And then the last question, not to spoil it, but the last question is, where are you? And they kind of played with the whole Socrates, the separating of the world. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this kind of thing that Socrates kind of came up with when there's the world we're in, and then there's perfect world, but they took that and they kind of turned it on its head. I thought that was smart and unique in its own right. The second question was also interesting too, but I'm going to leave that one to you. Definitely pick this up and take a look at it. I think you'll enjoy it. Moving into Marvel, it came out. I read it. I reviewed it, and you know what? I thought this was okay. I believe everybody's a hero of their own script, right? When you sit down and you imagine things, more than likely, you don't see yourself failing at something, right? However, you don't always work yourself through the problem either, right? There's this thing that happens that makes you the hero. And this is what we're kind of playing with in here. Captain America gets into a battle with a mutant-powered type of Captain America that can run really fast. It's slightly more enhanced than him. Is, I think, probably what we're going with here. And in our little battle with this guy, we run into our Hobo Captain America. I'm just going to call him Hobo Captain America because he rides the trains, right? You've heard a lot of hype about this book. If you watch anything on YouTube about comic books, you kind of know the story. I thought maybe they were kind of on the YouTube stuff, and a lot of these guys that kind of talk about this stuff, I thought maybe they were playing a little too much on the how gay he was or how gay he's going to be. Truth is, at the end of the day, I'm not particularly interested in who you sleep with or anybody else for that matter. What are you as a person? And in that, we get this in here. And I thought they did a good job of it. And showing us that, he is a homosexual male, I'm assuming. It's 2021. It's hard to say things without offending somebody. If I do, I apologize. But we did get his origin story in here. I thought it was kind of, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like when, what's the best way to describe this? And how the rest of this is probably going to pan out. So they're more Captain America by nature and by their own volition than they are Captain America experimenting with the drug to fight a war and all that, right? They're more socially inclined to become a Captain America, to become the hero in their own personal communities. I don't really like that concept because Captain America is for everybody in America, and it's very obvious that these are kind of broken down into different categories, but at the end of the day, it all makes up America, and we would rather look to our neighbor for a hero than somebody thousands of miles away, I would hope. So that's all they're really kind of referencing in here. But all in all, it wasn't bad. It was okay. It was a good Captain America story. Beta Ray Bill kind of got shortchanged in this one. We did that thing where we look at our past memories that are supposed to make us, depressed or sad or distract us from our mission. Your own thoughts, if you will. Whirlwinding and all the bad things that happen, kind of harping on that. There's a squid that's around the ship and it's kind of making Beta Ray Bill do this, and his little robot love interest, or soon to be love interest, or possible love interest, there's a connection there. the realization is Beta Ray Bill realizes that the ship, or robot of the ship, ultimately has always been there for him through his worst times, right? So love connection possibly, right? And then at the end we finally get to where we're going to pull Satyr's sword out of the stone. I thought that was interesting that they were going to use a stone, like, are you worthy, that whole thing, King Arthur, if you will. And then Soder shows up, and I'll tell you what, I like the artwork in this. And again, I've never been a critic of art, but come on, that is pretty cool. You got to admit, I like the way they stylized that. That was pretty cool. And yeah, there you go. It's in the right, well, Arthenian, worthiness, that kind of thing isn't there. So our next issue, he's probably going to end up actually battling or realizing that he doesn't need a symbolic object to be the hero he wants to be. I hope they go that route. I think that would land. I don't know. Let's see. Moving on into independent. So, look, I get the purpose of using being meta as a narrative device or breaking a fourth wall or something along those lines. But putting yourself in a comic book to meet the comic book self and kind of discuss the two personalities, the two halves of the personality here. Somebody wants to talk to me. They can wait. I get why you would do that, right? Because, right, there's you in public, there's you in private, or there's you in a certain environment versus another environment. And Chip Zdarsky, I thought, did a well-played job in doing that. Like, in one point in here, there's the reference of there's the party, outlandish, Twitter, cocaine guy, right? And then there's Chip Zdarsky just flipping hamburgers in a diner someplace and not doing it right. And talking about, like, this is all he knows how to do is make comic books, right? However, not what I wanted in this book when I got it, to be honest. Just to be frank, I'm not saying it was poorly written. I'm not saying it was badly written or anything like that. I'm just saying it didn't feel like a comic book story to me. This felt like a cry for help for somebody to get friends. Like, I'm so alone. I have to talk to my party self. It was like, oh, it's depressing. It was depressing. And then a whole winter scene behind it that just screams loneliness in the background. So I was like, wow, that's sad. Like, I almost feel like I should send him like an A-OK, right? Just like find out some of his comic books and be like, hey man, life will be better, some smiley face stickers or something. I don't know. I never felt bad for somebody I've never met before. Oh, God. All right, moving into it. Liefeld is being Liefeld. He gave us this great story, and I'll be honest with you, I liked, most of the time when it comes to Liefeld, I like those first two issues, and then after that, it just kind of gets kind of flatlined for me. Right? Like, everything's epic and explosion and fighting scenes and a cool plot line, and then it just kind of tapers off. So basically we get the comeback of the Shield. Shield's an old character in comic books. I think it's open market, so if you wanted to write a story using this character, I'm pretty sure that would be okay at this point. But so he's back, and apparently this is a problem because time, woo-woo, science, comic book stuff, right? It's a long explanation. Doesn't matter. Temporal displacement, time difference happens. And I just made that up off the top of my head. Doesn't matter. Sounds good. So that kind of happens in here, and this new team of superheroes with this new Shield character that kind of leads them, well, the Shield's got to die because apparently he's acting up. So where is this going to go? I don't know. Honestly, if my comic book shop comes out with issue number 2 in this, I will probably pick it up and read it. I am kind of curious how this battle's going to work out, or if it's going to be like where two superheroes meet, but they think the other one's a bad guy, and then they join the team and become a thing. I hope it's not that predictable, but I could see that happening in this. Last but not least, White came out. So if you're not familiar, this is the second volume to Black. Right? It's Black, and then there's White. this is a spicy topic. There's no doubt about that. White people are very much depicted in a certain way in this. That they're going to be the villains. They're going to be the bad guys. I don't care what color the hero or the villain is in it. It's not overly important to me. But this book does kind of put it in your face. And here's the bad part. It's actually a good story. It is a great comic book. And it's got some great art. It is a black and white comic for the most part. It is a black and white comic all the way through. Which I guess kind of plays off the whole 2 volumes now that I think about it. That makes sense. But in this one, we get a quirky kid who's a known domestic terrorist. I'm sorry I'm doing that. I think I did something to my hand, so I can't do that because it's all swollen. But anyway, so we get that in here. Everything's based off a political basis and what's popping right now as far as rhetoric and gaslighting goes. This book kind of plays with that stuff. But overall, it's a comic book team. It's some superheroes involved with a conflict. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I do not think there will be an issue to come to my comic book shop on this one. But if there is, I'll more than likely pick it up. Because, again, I'm more interested in the story than I am the politics behind it. Although I did pick up on another thing, and this is funny, right? So, you know, there was a time where you'd say, the man's holding me down, right? That was a thing, right? The man. You're always talking about white political people in power. And right here, you're right, we have our obvious politician, and then down here it's like man first, the man, right? So, good on you, writer. That was a little, that was pretty nice little hidden pun there. I liked it, and I thought it was smart. But for the most part, the political stuff in it, I can ignore that because it's a black and white comic book. So that's it. That's my haul. I didn't even get Department of Truth. Like, they didn't have it. And I was distraught. So if you read Department of Truth, kind of comment down below and let me know what happened in there. I don't want to fall too behind on it. So definitely. What else is going on? Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the interwebs. You got Blaster, Stash It, myself, Spectacular Spider Grandpa, and Huey's Comics, you know, a couple middle-aged men. We're going to roll through these books, possibly some more, because I know they probably bought more stuff. Their comic book stores generally have more stuff. So, should be interesting. We're going to sit down. We're going to hash this stuff out. We're going to talk through it and tell you our opinions on it. And you're invited. Definitely come in. We got a live chat going. We do our best to highlight everybody's chats and get you involved with us in any way that we can. All right, guys. This was a short one. 17 minutes. I'm done. Talk to y'all later. Bye.